First and foremost, a group of individuals who literally have built an empire off the enslavement of human beings can't tell me anything about violence. Period.
Y'all already know what time it is. I got the black V-neck on.
I ain't got no black V-neck on, but girl, we finna get into the discussion. Will Smith has knocked smacked the sonic rings out of Chris Rock during the Oscars 2022, and girl, white folks are shook, black folks are shook, everybody is shook, and we're gonna talk about it. I've already had an uncut version of this video posted on Patreon. They're already getting the content and already watching it. The reason why there's an uncut version on Patreon is because, girl, YouTube is not allowing us to say certain things, and y'all know how I get. So I did a version over there on Patreon, so if you ain't seen it, go check it out. But we're gonna get into it, we're gonna do the best we can and have this conversation like we always do over here on Kingery. So let's talk about it. Last night during the 2022 Oscars, Chris Rock is doing his thing. He's coming out, he's presenting, he's telling his jokes like he usually does, and he brings up Jada Pinkett playing in G.I. Jane 2. Now, for those who've never seen G.I. Jane, the first one came out in 1997, and Demi Moore played the Jane character, and she had a very short haircut. Now, everybody knows Jada has been rocking a short haircut for a minute, but a lot of people did not know that back in 2018, Jada Pinkett had revealed that she has alopecia. She came forward and she talked about it, and it was a beautiful, beautiful thing, and I had no idea about it. Now, what's interesting about this, she came out in 2018 and talked about it. 2 years prior to that, Chris Rock was doing another bid on Oscars, doing the Oscars boycott, which Jada Pinkett was, you know, the founder of. She was like, boycott the Oscars, let's not go, da-da-da-da, they need to fix the diversity, they need to work on some things. And Chris Rock, I think he was the host that night, was on his tap dance and stuff. He was out there telling jokes, making white folks feel comfortable, something that he does. I mean, this is the same man who sat in a room with a bunch of white folks and told one white man that he's the funniest black person that is white, or whatever he said. Like, Chris Rock literally is America's favorite black person because he's the one that goes out with the leash and just tells it like it is. Tells black folks they need to get their stuff together. And we all know America loves folks like that, i.e. Bill Cosby, period. Now we are in 2022 and Chris Rock is making a joke. And people will say, well, what if Chris Rock did not know or wasn't aware of Jada having alopecia? Doesn't matter. We should be beyond the point of understanding that stop making jokes about people's appearance. I don't know if you've learned it. I know I've learned it. Chadwick Boseman was the one for me. Was the one. I had already knew what it felt like to be in a room coming back home and having to explain your weight gain, during Thanksgiving, during Christmas, or any family events where folks haven't seen you in a minute. I'm one of them folks, like, I know what it feels like to experience that, like people talking about your appearance. So I don't do that with anybody else. I try my best not to do that. And we are entering in something where we've seen too many celebrities suffer in silence, i.e. Tracy Braxton recently passed away, and they said she stopped posting pictures publicly because she was battling cancer in private and she had lost a lot of weight, and people started to say she looked sick. They did the same thing with Chadwick Boseman. Same thing happened with him and other celebrities too. Like the stuff that we do, like some stuff be considered jokes, but it's very, very harmful. And is it funny when we are causing harm to a specific demographic or a specific person? It's not right. We shouldn't be doing it, point blank, period. So he's making this comment. Will Smith laughed, and people are saying, well, Will Smith laughed, like it wasn't an issue. We all do this thing where we perform and I forgot what someone named it, but it's an acronym for it, where you laugh, you kind of just try to play it off, and you even though you don't like it, it's kind of like your fight or flight response. It's like, I don't like it, but I don't want to be looking awkward, so whatever. After Chris Rock makes this joke, Will Smith goes up there, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? Like, he smacks the hell out of Chris Rock. Like, smacks him. Like, I'm on the phone with my mother having this conversation. She's like, do you see what's going on? And I thought it was an SNL skit. I was like, no, this can't be happening. Like, Will Smith is, like, he's very proper. He doesn't seem to get angry about stuff. He's happy to go lucky. Jada is too. She moon crystal magic. She on the red table talk, telling her stories, talking about things. She's no violence, no nothing. So I saw Jada roll her eyes at Chris Rock when he made that comment. So I'm like, why would Jada roll her eyes like that? Jada is not one of those folks who kind of just, she's not, what's the name out there? Like, I feel like Jada can take a joke. She's not pressed about certain stuff. Like even the whole entanglement situation that happened with Laverne Cox, I don't think that Will Smith and Jada were feeling any type of way about that. Like, girl, it is what it is. We like, it's gonna be good. We cool. But it was something about that joke that just didn't sit right with her. And Will Smith getting up, smacking Chris Rock, all of that happening. And Chris Rock was so caught off guard. He's like, bro, what's going on? Will Smith responded. Because they cut the mic, but Will Smith said, keep my wife out your mouth. Period. Like, he said that, and Chris Rock said, I will. And Lupita is just looking like, girl, what's going on? Like, she is like shook. And now you have this outcry of this is violence. You don't get the chance to react like this when somebody has done something that you don't like or said something. What type of world we live in where people are upset and they get to take their hands and do what they want to based off of something somebody says. And I'm like, some of y'all have some nerve. Some of y'all have some nerve to be talking about violence. I'm just, the things that we sit here and really complain about is mind-boggling to me. It literally twists me in the most uncomfortable pretzel because you have all these white people performing and talking about violence, saying all these things while also praising all of the trash stuff that the United States has done, the empire of the United States has done. I'm like, we're having this discussion when there's a rampant influx of cash for police departments across the country who are very violent to black and brown folks. We're sitting here seeing black folks being pushed further into poverty because of the pandemic. We're seeing restrictions and stuff that are harmful to black and brown folks and small little safety guards being taken away from black and brown folks in the middle of this pandemic, who black folks and brown folks have suffered the most. And we want to talk about this little violence. Now we want to get on our soapbox and discuss and talk about violence and how this looks and all this other stuff. And I'm like, this is, you want to know what's really violent? $7.15 an hour minimum wage is violent. That's violent. You know what else is violent? The military budget for 2022. That's violent. You want to know what else is violent? All the other stuff that's going on across the world that we're not really discussing and we're okay with. The fact that we were holding on vaccines from other countries that were very much in need. That's violence. This is not violence. Yes, in some way, shape, or form, Will Smith was wrong. Like, you don't allegedly supposed to get up there and smack somebody. But words are violent too. And I think we need to start realizing that words are just as violent. We've seen words literally make people, push people to suicide. Words are violent. Will Smith, there's no telling what type of conversations he's had with his wife while she was dealing with that. I can only imagine, because this is his wife, this is his partner, and she's sharing all of her experiences probably with him. That she's being the most vulnerable. And there's like, I'm knowing that is what is happening in Will Smith's mind. I'm not trying to make it okay for him to do that, but what I'm doing is trying to challenge folks in how we think and how we look at stuff, because some of y'all are sounding like cops. Some of y'all are sounding like cops, like we're talking about assault, we're talking about, oh my gosh, like this is like y'all are just all up. It's like, girl, did he hit you? How are you impacted like this? How, like, we're talking about one person. And let me be completely honest. Y'all have some, we have some very violent faves who we are out here still listening to. We're still out here supporting. We're still buying their tickets. We're still buying their merch. We're doing, and that honestly applies to a lot of folks. And then you have Diddy, who is the most violent black capitalist in the music industry. How much violence he's done to like struggling black folks who are trying to make it and trying to be artists and stuff and have a dream about making music, and he's taking advantage of them. Like, that is violence. Hoarding wealth is violence. Amazon workers and their stories is violence. That is violence. People being evicted in the middle of a pandemic is violence. People losing livelihood is violence. Chris Rock will be okay. Chris Rock will be fine. Will Smith will be fine. Matter of fact, Will Smith just issued an apology while I'm in the middle of recording this. And he said that violence is poison. He said he shouldn't have done it. He was acting up emotions and all these things. And he just, talked about his wife's experience of alopecia. And he said that just really took him to another place. Now, I want to move and switch it up and talk about another thing where I heard a lot of folks were saying this is protecting black women. And I really am not sure if this is that. Like sitting down, maybe it's been like almost 24 hours now. I don't think this is protecting black women. What I think this is a man protecting his wife. And I think this is patriarchy, to be honest. I don't see this as protecting a black woman. Protecting black women is putting a black woman first before your needs. And in this, I'm not saying this is what Will Smith was doing, but Will Smith is protecting his family. He is the quote unquote, the man, he's the husband. It is by design, it is by structure and how we are taught that a man is supposed to do this. And this is not the same thing. Protecting black women would have been protecting Janet Hubert and the experience that she had on the show. That is when you put this black woman's stuff ahead of yours. That is protecting black women. Now, Will Smith has apologized to Janet and all the other stuff, but that doesn't reverse the damage that Janet has experienced and all the years and stuff that she's lost out of her work and everything. That doesn't fix everything. It's an apology. But that is protecting black women. That's protecting black women when you are putting their interests above yours. Because at the end of the day, Will Smith is he's a cis man. He'll be fine. He's already on the PR thing and talking. These white people are going to forgive him. He's already done the things that they want. Apologize. I already knew that he was going to do that. I knew that Will Smith was going to apologize. Money is involved. Capitalism is at play here. He is going to apologize because he doesn't want to miss out on any other things. But what's also interesting seeing the Oscars response, the Academy, whatever their names is this week, talking about, we don't condone this and that, and y'all have literally given awards to abusers, folks who have been accused of abuse, people who have been accused of other harmful stuff in the past and in the present. And the response is not the same. The Oscars in itself, the institution of the Academy is harmful to black folks. Period. The whole institution is built off of whiteness. This whole Hollywood is built off of whiteness. Girl, y'all are literally booing this woman who was literally just this. this Native American woman who's literally just saying, hey girl, stop mocking us in y'all films. Y'all were ready to chop this woman's head off. Like doing a war, like y'all were that pissed off. Like, people, y'all are violent. and I know there's probably some white people watching this, but let me tell you, your privilege, your whiteness is built off of violence. So before you get on your social media apps, before you go to work tomorrow, or like all the hell you're bringing with black folks, asking them how they feel about this, and this is wrong, remember that your very existence is built off of violence. Your very existence, your kids' existence, your grandchildren's existence is built off of violence. And yes, you may not have been there, but you are benefiting from it now. And you will forever benefit from it. So I'm looking at black folks sideways who are now on their soapboxes saying, we don't do this type of stuff in front of good white folks. We don't do that master. We don't out here embarrass. This is the BET Awards. And y'all anti-blackness is so rampant that it is just as violent. Because y'all over here basically doing the stuff that the man wants y'all to do. It's hilarious seeing black folks get on here and say, like, you got, like, who was it? Shannon Sharp who said something. You got, what's the name? You got ESPN commentators and probably talking about sports, talking about this. You got black folks with large platforms, with large white audiences talking about this could have been done better. First of all, for those like you black content creators, you black performers, you black artists who have huge white audiences, this is not a safe space for you to be discussing this with your white audience. No ma'am, no Pam, shut up. If your last 5 boyfriends or last 5 partners have been white, shut up. You don't get to talk to us about respectability, about blackness, none of that. Your black card is in denial, okay? You don't get to talk. You cannot talk here. Like, I'm watching folks, I'm like, girl, you got some nerve to be talking about this with your white audience. Are you serious? Like, I'm not, even today when I went to Whole Foods, just getting a half a pound of shrimp, this white man just felt very comfortable talking to me with a mask on. He can barely hear me asking how I felt. I don't feel any type of way about this. I don't feel no type of way. Will Smith and Chris Rock have lost nothing. They will be fine. They're rich. I don't care about this quote unquote perceived violence. I don't care. And a lot of us should not care. It's not that serious. Will Smith has already apologized. The stuff is already moving. So what now? So what else is going on? Are we going to talk about the other violence that's going on that we just stick our head in the sands and don't talk about? Are we going to talk about the other violence and stuff that's going on in our world, in our neighborhoods? Not the quote-unquote black-on-black crime, but how many black folks you have lost in your city from police violence. That's the conversations we need to be having. Why y'all out here upset at the messaging about abolish the police? Girl, you got whole folks who in the military, whole sheriff officers, whole police folks out here talking about what is violent. Girl, you are violent. And a lot of us are violent. We're sitting here paying taxes for the United States government to continue to be violent, to be the biggest police force in the world. We got some nerve. So I don't really care about this, as I really don't care. I know we're going to be talking about it for a minute, but I just want to reiterate that who cares who was right or wrong and all that other stuff. Like, oh my gosh, this is just not that to be like losing sleep over. Like, it's just not that serious to me. But Folks are tying themselves in knots trying to figure out and trying to understand, like, this is violence against black men. Then you got Diddy coming in here shoe shine and tap dance in front of white folks because he want to be the great white hope for white folks. Look at me, I'm going to get the niggas together. I'm going to get them together. I'm going to make them hug and whatever, because we don't out here do this in front of y'all, Mr. Boss Man. That's literally all I get from Diddy. Sean, whatever you want to call yourself, like, you are a whole capitalist that, like, you are violent. The existence of you is violent. The black folks that you have over, you are violent to them. Let's talk about that. Right? Okay? But these are my thoughts. I probably will be talking about this more later on because I think this is a continued conversation. I think, and I'm interested in seeing some folks' feedback about it. But I've said what I said. Tell me your thoughts. And until next time, I'll talk y'all later on tonight. Bye.